Good.
Following us, all right.
Yep.
Well, thank you for having us. I'm Brian Dolan, I represent Milroy, along with my father, Pat Dolan.
Kelly Loft, Marshall Baseball Association, and Cassie Weiss, who is from our Marshall Convention and Visitors Bureau. So she's with us from Marshall as well.
Thank you.
Yes, and we'll be probably going back and forth. We have various topics. As you might know, Gary has his own presentation due later for Shakopee, so we'll focus on our own. Marshall and Milroy are coming together in partnership for this bid, and we're representing our Corn Belt League. We did a rough draft of what we thought our state logo might be. We want to get it to our southwest Minnesota. We're going to focus on what we have. It's cornfields, and it's classic in the cornfields. This is our tagline right now, and that can change in the future. But with that, our presentation order is going to be, we're going to give a community overview on each Marshall and Milroy, what we have for our facilities, some fan experience ideas, along with partnerships and marketing. We'll finish up with those as well. Community overview, just wanted to start with, as you know from a year and a half ago, I was contacted to help with the 2020 state tournament. Gave us 3 weeks to get ready, and it was quite a ride. All I can say is we have a small ballpark, we have a small town. We're just like about 90% of the state teams. We have a ballpark, we got a bar, we got 3 churches, we have a nice small ballpark. We have ample parking around our ballpark. We have a park right up from our ballpark for kids to play at. Our hitting facilities in Wabasso have the same type of setup where you can hit at. You have places for the wives and kids to play and whatnot without having to venture and find their own eating establishments and whatnot. 3 years ago, we had 177 different workers, so our community is behind us, along with Marshall. We had plenty of people come out and support us in such short time. And through the tournament, we had many compliments. It was awesome to hear it in that short time that we could do something in 3 weeks. We're here to take away for the 3 weeks. We wanted to see what we can do if we're given 3 years to get ready for the state tournament.
That's one thing with Marshall and Milroy is obviously you guys know the ballparks, and we'll look at Marshall here too, but the big thing that we're striving to get is the partnership, working together, just 10 miles apart, which I think is a big deal for our state tournament, and obviously the Milroy side of things, which we think is kind of a cool combination for the fact that we've got, there's a town right there, it's a ballpark, that's what town ball is all about, in the cornfield, that type of stuff, and obviously with both our teams in the Corn Belt League, so that was kind of the tie on that. But so we have our partnerships not only with Milroy, but now from the Marshall side of things, a little bit bigger town, what we can feature for Marshall. Obviously the hotel feature is big for our teams to stay on those Friday or Saturday of those first of all 3 weekends, obviously. The parks, these are just a sample of the, obviously, Legion Field. Trails, the aquatic center out there behind the center field, that's more than likely going to be gone. There's a new one being built in town, so that'll help us with parking that way too. But the ballpark and those type of things that we have, the trail system, highways with 23 and 19, pretty good access into Marshall, and obviously a direct county road right to Milroy as well. So just an overview, obviously, of the ballparks. There's Memorial Park with the 9/11 things. A lot going on with the community. There's the Red Baron Arena, our hockey facility, again, the parks. And right around this time, too, we'll have community celebration going on. That's the new high school, where we have our batting practice behind the high school there for teams during the state tournament. So that's just kind of some of the positives of Marshall. Again, kind of the bigger city side of things, along with Milroy. Again, that partnership there, and that's why we obviously have the city of Marshall involved in our economic development group as well.
All right, most of everybody's been to Milroy in the last 2 years. There's a lot that's been done, and in the last couple of years, we got lucky in timing that we were able to put a deck over our first base dugout. Even before the year started, we had a new knee wall put in and protective netting all the way across. A couple of years before that as well, we put in an extra 32 lights on our light poles, so our lighting was in par with everybody else. There's probably 64 total lights on our light poles. We've also addressed the back end of the infield. The one complaint that I do remember from 2020 is our drainage off the back of the infield kind of goes up, down, and back up. Don't want anybody to have safety or injury concerns, so we're gonna deal with that as well. Other improvements that we've already started working on is we improved our sight lines. Instead of going straight down the foul poles, straight out like we normally do, we angled them in slightly so each fan can see towards home plate. It's natural to look more towards home than it is straight out into the outfield, so we have that going in. We also put in double bullpens this last fall. We also know that with the 3 weeks that we were given, that we were unprepared for some of the things you could do over the 3 years, so we're going to put in tin around the back of the grandstand to clean up so it's more appealing to the fans as they come in. They don't see all our clay and agar lime and all those things and whatnot. We'll put concrete around the back as well so fans aren't walking in front of the grandstand and interfering with their views as well. We also put in a new multi-purpose building that we can use for beer sales, beer tent as well.
Now for the Marshall side of things, obviously, most of you all know too, Marshall hosted in 1989 and in 1989 and 1999, and there's some things that were obviously redone back then, but we were in need of some upgrades, and we have a great relationship with our city. They do a lot of work on the field. 2 years ago, our association, Marshall Baseball Association, which handles our town team, the A's, along with our youth organization in the city, redid our infield, new irrigation system. It just needed work. It had a lot of use on it, so we redid that 2 years ago. And new lighting system was a big thing we did about 3 years back, and obviously that's a big deal. I mean, we go to a lot of parks right now and you can just tell the difference. And so that was a big upgrade that we made a few years back. Again, redid our mound, home plate area. A lot of possibilities. Now, what are main things we need to do right now? New bathrooms. They just need to be redone and added. Bigger concession stand. Roof over our grandstand. That's a need for sure. New netting system. We've got chain link right now behind home plate. And as I tell our city crew, that's just, nobody really has chain link much anymore, so we need to upgrade that. Concession stand, new dugouts. That's another plan right there. And we're also planning just ourselves from our town team. We're going to help pay for that with the city. Again, we've got a nice relationship with them to get these done as well. Party deck down the third base line. Right now we've got the grandstands, which is a nice sitting area, but we need to upgrade that in the party deck. And so I met with our city administrator and our parks department in August, and we talked about putting in a bid, and they were very appreciative of the ideas that we had stepping forward from our association, but they've got, they wanted to see, let's see if we can get one of these years possibly, but we need to do it anyways, but getting the state tournament would really help, and I think these are things that we can get done for sure. They need to be done. If we're going to have a great state tournament, which we would, these things have to be done. And Marshall's proven that. It went up through a huge upgrade in the 80s to host the 89 tournament with the new scoreboard and the video board, and then same with 99. And so we're excited about some of the ideas we have here for facilities. And our youth association, MABA, obviously is on board as well because they use the field. So those are just some of the ideas that we have right now for the Legion Field.
5 more minutes.
Okay. Our partnerships, the city of Marshall, I mean, you saw the Red Baron Arena, we've got the university, great football stadium that we partner with the high school. We've got a great partnership with our city. And obviously with Milroy, it's a smaller town, but that's why we're working together. We know this is a project for both of our programs, and obviously Shakopee is a great person, a team, an association to have as well as a third site. But there's a lot of different organizations that are behind this that we've already talked to. We have Schwann's, Runnings Corporate's in here. Relco's a big player in our community. We have the university. There's a lot of other businesses as well that support us right now that would be on board on being a sponsor, a title sponsor of our tournament to help with certain different things. So that's kind of a, not just Marshall, but obviously with Milroy and the connections they have as well.
Okay, fan experience, I'll run through a few things that we're planning that are unique. We have the ability to stream privately our games that are at our location from center and from home plate. This will be a private thing that we're gonna stream into our own beer tents to keep them entertained while they're not missing the game, so they can see what's going on there. We also have the idea of, for Milroy with our nonprofit, that we'll have a limited full bar, assuming that's okay from a board standpoint. Probably a Bloody Mary, margarita type bar type idea. We're also using the idea of, this is our house, you're our guests, you're gonna be treated as number one. We wanna make sure our service is great. We're gonna have servers going out and asking for requests or some beer and those type of things. We have plenty of player parking. We have a designated spots for each location in Marshall and Milroy. We're all within a few blocks of the ballpark. We also will have plenty of people going around with Rangers or Gators or golf carts to help funnel people into our ballpark.
One thing I wanted to touch on too, one thing that we decided would be a bus service. A lot of teams will be staying in Marshall, so having that back late on the hour at night to help people get back to hotels and those type of things, just to make that experience if they're having a great time in Milroy, if you know what that means, and then make sure they get back to Marshall or wherever they're staying that particular night as well. Some marketing plans, some ideas, and that's why we've got Cassie and our EDA. They've done a great job. We just have a lot of different things that we can do with video, webcasting, those type of things prior to this, with our cable access channel for YouTube. Obviously the podcast went really well this year at the state tournament, but those are some of the video partnerships that we could do throughout the years prior to it. Digital ads, social, same things. Who knows what things will be like in 3 years. But some of our marketing side of things, if you go as well, we've talked to some businesses about possibly wrapping trucks in the area as well. If a Schwann's truck with our logo in the state tournament, that would help promote the tournament maybe the year prior to. So in radio, we've got a great partnership with Marshall Radio, and then with the CVB putting in ads around the state guides that like explore Minnesota, those type of things that they do already, but we continue that as well. So that was just kind of an idea, was the vehicle wrap with certain businesses I think would really go over well. There's an example there, Eastman Trucking and Relco's trucks. So right there you can imagine having the tournament logo, the dates, going all over Minnesota and around the upper Midwest. There you go.
That concludes our
Presentation.
Yeah,
We're just
yeah.
excited about.
Wait a minute, but.
Well, just one thing I wanted to
We like
mention.
questions.
There'll be more questions, right? One thing we're excited about, small town ball. When I moved to Marshall, going to school at Southwest, and getting part of this, and the Dolans have been around. We had it was Marshall, Granite, and Milroy. And that's about it. And now Cottonwood, Wabasso, Milroy, Irish, Lamberton. I mentioned Ruthven, Tracy, Minneota. It's expanded, and town ball is getting bigger in the area, which is great to see over the last 20 years. And I think getting that, Dawson's another team that was added over the years that, let's get these teams and they support this, the chance to get another state tournament in the outstate. And obviously a couple of years ago, things went really well in Milroy.
Right, and with COVID, we're limited at 250 people per game, so I really think our local fans got cheated out of not being able to attend quite often because they wanted to be there, but they had to do the pre-sales.
Tip.
All right, board members, do we have any questions?